Hi everyone, this is Kyle with kayDbait. I'm going to be doing a video on how to respond to somebody who has made a bad argument, one of the people that has had a fallacy in their argument, or who has used improper logic, or who has misinterpreted what you have said and is responding improperly to make your argument seem bad by comparison, and who just isn't being fair. So some of the things they can do, I mentioned them in my last video, where they can use the straw man argument, where they start saying things that you're not saying, that are your side, and dismissing them because they're irrational, but you never said. So it's not your argument, it's just something that people on your side might have said improperly. And those are not fair tactics. Those are putting words in your mouth, they're saying things that you don't mean, and then they're attacking those things that you never even said. And the way you have to respond to that is clear and very immediate. You must rebuttal those things. You can't push them aside. And when they say something, you must respond with, I did not say that. I said this. And they might dismiss what you try to say and they'll try to spin it. But you must stay on that. You must not allow people to do that. Because if you do, then you are not being represented fairly, because he is or she is trying to represent you poorly on purpose. And it's very important. You have to maintain not only your integrity by not responding angrily, but you must also be able to quickly quash these misinterpretations of your argument, because it's not fair. And sometimes it is very difficult when somebody says you're a liar, or when somebody says you said this but you didn't. It can be emotionally traumatic if you are speaking to somebody that you respect, or if somebody you feel shouldn't be making these kinds of assumptions about you, or who you feel is just trying to slander your name. That can hurt you. You don't want somebody to slander your name. You don't want somebody to say you've said things you didn't, because you didn't say them for a reason. There are a lot of very powerful authoritative figures that do this very often because they can get away with it. You cannot say, hey, don't say that about me, because all they have to do is say more stuff about you, and you do not have the ability to counter it all. And generally it hurts your reputation trying to fight something, because it's like picking at a scab. They cut you and you start trying to get them to stop, and all it does is make them do it again and again. So there are times to pick your battles, but on a one-on-one debate with a person that may not be that kind of authoritative figure that's just trying to get ahead, and maybe they just made an improper statement, or maybe they're just being kind of a jerk, but they're not really like out to get you kind of a jerk, they're just trying to make their argument better, you have to call them out on it, because it's the only way to make sure you're represented properly. And again, I'm repeating myself, but it's hard to do. It's very hard to step up and say, hey, don't say that about me. Because a lot of people who are soft-spoken or who try to be fair do not want to have to call out somebody on being unfair. I have that problem. I have trouble saying, hey, why are you misrepresenting me? Why are you saying things that I never said? And it hurts me. It hurts me emotionally. But also me not defending myself allows people to take advantage. And that has happened to me in the past, and I need to step up my game in that regard. So in that one aspect, you must step up. But what if they're being aggressive? What if they're yelling and being overly assertive, and they're trying to dominate, like intimidate? How do you respond to that? You cannot just become intimidating yourself. If you turn into them, if you try to reflect them to beat them, then you are also being wrong. And it becomes a game of whose is bigger, pretty much. Who's willing to go farther to make their point seem more valid. Because it doesn't make your point more valid to be louder. It just means you're louder. And some people respect that. But the people that respect that probably shouldn't. And it's not something that is reasonable. It's something that is emotionally reflected in other people. And as I've said before, emotion is used to fuel a debate, but not what you base a discussion off of. If you base it off of it, all you're going to do is hurt everybody. Them, you, people that watch, they're not going to learn from it. They're going to become emotionally swayed in some fashion. And that's not what a debate is for. So how do you respond to somebody who is being overly dramatic or overly angry or overly intimidating? You have to defeat them with, and I use defeat because in that aspect they are fighting you. You have to defeat them with calm logic, irrefutable evidence, and passionate but not excessive belief. Because when they use intimidation and you respond with any form of not sympathy, apathy. If you respond with apathy, like, well, I disagree with you. No, you have to say, well, you know what? I don't agree with that. And you have to be a little bit more impassioned because you have to be able to bring in those people that you just lost from them being angry. It's not a tactic you use to win. It's a tactic you use to respond to somebody that's not being fair in that regard. You have to be a little bit more animated to bring back those people that are lost, and because they were lost unfairly. I don't mean you have to stoop to their level. Being passionate about something, as I said, is a fuel that people, and it's actually a fuel people can see, which is why many people are impassioned when they speak and they're considered the best speakers. But they're not using it as their argument. They're using it to fuel their argument. And that's one of the most, I say most a lot, but it's a very important aspect of being able to maintain the audience. And losing an audience to somebody that's not being fair is difficult to regain without also being unfair. So I brought up become impassioned because it's something you should be impassioned about. You should be passionate about the truth. It's like, that is not true. I didn't believe that. I never said that. You're not being whatever. And you have to be able to do that in a reasonable way. And you've seen me do it in some of my videos where I've become very impassioned and I've said a whole bunch of things really quickly, and apparently it brings people in really well. I can't turn that on or off. I can't control that. But I try to pick subjects that I do that with because it's the best way of pulling people in, and I want to be able to do that. I don't want to be able to do that unfairly. I want it to be, relevant or relative to what I'm trying to accomplish in my life. But when somebody does it specifically as their argument, it bothers me greatly. So that's my response to it. If somebody responds to me angrily with, spit in their, going everywhere, you can't resort to what they're doing. What you must do is, as I said, calm logic, reason, and passion sprinkled throughout. And I hope you understand. I'm not articulating myself as well as I could be in that regard. I'm trying to say that it helps. The passion helps. And it's something that you can't just ratchet up. It's something you have to actually have. So I'm going to end the video here. I'm going to try to say something in the description to help clarify what I was trying to say, because I don't feel it was explained as well as it could have been. But anyway, take care and peace.